Hey guys, Dan here. It's been a while since I made a video, but I feel like I've had a lot of issues with motivation for videos, but now I have something I want to talk about, and it is to do with the whole mirrorless boom craze, whatever you want to call it, now with Canon and Nikon's like R and Z line. And it is basically my recommendations for anyone really wanting to make the shift over to it now. I've been a mirrorless shooter for a while now, but I use the Panasonic lenses and whatever. But this is something that applies to every single mirrorless line of cameras. It's not only about Sony or Canon or whatever, right? So this applies to everything. And that recommendation is do not 100% invest in mirrorless lenses, and here's why. One of the things I've always told people is, and one of the things I always heard when I was first starting, is always invest in good glass. And the key word there is invest. It is an investment. A good lens is like a good tripod. It will outlast any camera you buy, and that's the key with this, what I'm talking about now. Because when you invest in a good lens, you generally don't want to get rid of it, and it should outlast every camera you buy. Now, where that differs now with the whole mirrorless line of lenses is to do with the flange distance. Because you see, I know this is, most of you probably already know this, right? But DSLRs typically, because they have to leave a lot of room for a mirror box, they all typically have about an inch or so of clearance that the lens needs to have between it and the sensor in order to achieve infinity focus. This is called the flange distance. Now, with mirrorless lenses, because they had no need to, think about, because you're leaving enough space between the lens and the sensor, these lenses were designed to achieve infinity focus at a very minute distance between the sensor and the real element, which means that there's very little chance that you can ever adapt these to something. I'm not even sure you can adapt these to even a smaller format of sensor, because there's just not enough room to put an adapter between this and the new camera. And that's where this whole thing lies now, because this does not only apply to small format cameras like the Panasonics and Olympuses, but it applies heavily to the Sony cameras and the Canon ones. Because let's say you are heavily invested in Sony glass with like the A7S or whatever, and you want to move to the new Canon mirrorless camera, you have to get rid of all your Sony lenses, because the likelihood is that the flange distance required by those lenses does not leave enough clearance. As I said, with this, it doesn't leave enough clearance for someone to even fit an adapter between the two lens mounts. So, and what are the odds that if there's not enough room for that, there's not going to be enough room for electronics, for autofocus and things like that. So that's where my recommendation pretty much is. Don't invest 100%. I'd say definitely get yourself a decent kit lens and maybe a good prime, especially if you're doing like photography, because you want autofocus, because that's the whole idea with the mirrorless lenses, with the whole fly-by-wire thing. Even though I absolutely hate fly-by-wire focus, it makes autofocus much faster, much quieter, and it's just much more precise. But I'd say at the same time of getting yourself a decent thing like that, a decent kit lens, do not get rid of your DSLR lenses, I would say. Especially if they're full frame. If they're full frame Nikon or Canon, or even the Sony DSLR lenses, I don't really know how adaptable they are. But if you invested heavily in like Canon and Nikon DSLR lenses, like this one, don't get rid of them, because the chances are they are. We know with the Canon ones, but now Canon lenses will actually be adaptable to the Nikon cameras, which has never been done before, because Nikon DSLRs had the widest flange distance of any camera system, which is one of the reasons why their lenses were easily adaptable to other formats. So yeah, there's nothing more to say, but I'm just repeating myself now. But yeah, don't heavily invest 100% in mirrorless glass, because you are it's kind of detrimental to future-proofing your kit. You know, if you ever move systems, they are going to have to go, and you're going to have to reinvest in all new glass. So I'd say keep your DSLR lenses, don't get rid of them, because you never know when you might want to use them again. Adapters are being made every single day. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall hopefully see you soon if I decide to make another video. See you guys.